Hi, how is it going, everybody? This is my professional voice that I'm using right now because I am trying to do a tutorial that I am also recording and hoping to put up as an actual reference that people can use online. If you are watching on if you're watching on YouTube right now, this is being streamed to both the YouTube and Twitch. Thank you. Intentionally, thank you for subscribing. If you are watching on both Twitch or if you're watching on YouTube, please, you can stay there if you like, but I will be mostly answering questions from Twitch. Also, you can interact better through there. Okay, so this is a stream or a tutorial on how to use Source Filmmaker, and basically I am starting with the very basics, and I'm hoping to go into more in-depth things, such as I don't know, changing materials and animation and animation techniques and all that kind of stuff. But for right now, you can't really animate if you have no idea how to start the program or use it. So I'm gonna show you how to do that stuff. Can I swear? Is it possible for me to swear? I don't. Awesome deltoids, Tadville. I didn't turn off the tier 2. Okay, well I guess if you tier 2 sub, you'll just be very loud and in the recording. That's fine. Anyway, so let's start. So first you're going to install Source Filmmaker. In order to have Source Filmmaker, you are going to also need to have installed Team Fortress 2. This is because Source Filmmaker runs on a version of Team Fortress 2 and needs TF2 installed for it to take the assets from it. So basically you're going to launch it. It's going to bring up these two windows, and you're going to, it starts on Source Filmmaker, Source Launch SDK. I have no idea what that is. This is already off to a great start. Launch Source Filmmaker by clicking Launch. And after a bit, the program will start. Okay, and then it'll take you to, well, if this is your first time opening it, then you won't see it like this. It'll just be this, because there is no recent session to open. But you're going to start a new session. If you are playing along at home, I am going to make this as paint by numbers as I can. So basically this is directly to where it's going to go. User mod, elements, session. User mod is basically your personal folder for anything you want in the Source Filmmaker directory. And I'm just gonna call this one tutorial. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it, we can call it, I sure do like having a any belly button, because if I didn't, I'd look real yeah. .dmx. I mean, we can call it whatever we want, but for right now, for filing sake, I will call it tutor, sure, whatever. And you're gonna click create. It's gonna take a while, probably because it is, yeah, okay. So it takes a little bit in the beginning if your thing isn't starting up immediately, because it is checking to see if you have anything subscribed on the workshop. And I do not. So here we are. Actually, your Source Filmmaker would actually look more like this if you're just starting. Right? So I can make it look like this, and we'll go ahead and I'll talk about that later. But so first, what you're gonna want to do, I guess I can go over all these things. This is the primary viewport. This is where you're going to see everything that happens. This is the timeline, the animation set editor, and it has a bunch of tabs over here. You have the element viewer, which allows you to get more in depth with the particles and models and everything that you're using. This is the console. If you've played TF2, you've probably dabbled in the console. It is used to basically run things within the like I said, it runs on Team Fortress 2, so you're basically running things within TF2. So let's go back to animation set editor, and the first thing you're noticing is no map is loaded. This is totally fine. What we're gonna do is we're going to right click on the viewport and we're going to load map. Let's just clear out all that. And so here, yours is probably only going to have the TF and TF movies maps. I have a lot of them in user mod. There are a bunch of, these are all models and maps that I've gotten from the internet and put inside Source Filmmaker. I'll explain how to do that later. But for right now, we're just gonna go down here to filter, and we are going to search for what's a good map that people like? What do people like? How about Gold Rush? Sure. You can just type in gold and it'll instantly search plgoldrush.bsp. That is the file name for Gold Rush. We're going to click open, and it is going to take some time to load. If any of you are watching on Twitch, I guess while we're waiting, I can just say thank you. If you'd like to support what I do here, you can cheer with bits, or donate with money, or subscribe and help me get subscriber points to feed my children. Anyway, here we are. We are on Gold Rush right now. What we're gonna do before we start moving things, or we start looking around, we are going to go over here to this little tab here that says no camera. We're going to click the arrow that drops it down. We're going to go change scene camera, and we're going to click new camera. Now it's changed to camera 1. And now, if we click on the viewport and hold down left click, we can look around. Without a camera, you cannot look around because there's, actually it will switch to the work camera. The work camera is a free moving camera that is used so that you don't have to move your active camera in order to see around the map. You can access it quickly by just clicking on the tab, but let's go back to camera 1. To move about the world using your camera, you have to click and hold and use the WASD keys to move your camera. And you click and drag to look around. You can move left, right, forward, backwards, just as you would in a video game. You can also press Z to move up. You can press X to move down. You can hold Alt, and that will... Hold on, wait. You can push Alt and then click, and that will revolve you around whatever you're looking at. You can hold down Control and click, and then push any of the direction keys. Or, wait, nope, hold on, sorry. Click, then press Control, and then hit a movement key, and you will move slower than you would normally in case you have to ease into something. Let's see, if I let go of Control, I move a lot faster. Inversely, I can hold down Shift, or I can click, hold down Shift, and I'll move much faster. I'll just fucking go real fast. But anyways, you can see this is Gold Rush. This is all a Gold Rush. You can see all a Gold Rush from here. This is the first point. If we just move through the map, this is... Things are disappearing because we're going out of bounds, but you can see, from out of bounds, you can see everything that's in the map. You can even see the rest of the parts of the map. Here's the second point. We go over here, down in here. Here's the second part of Gold Rush. We go around here. Here's the third. And probably the most cinematic, which is the third portion of Gold Rush. It's my favorite part of Gold Rush. Yeah, there's the entirety of the thing. How to use DAG lights? I will explain that later. But for right now, I'm just kind of going over this stuff. You're still loading? Okay. I imagine my computer is actually... I didn't actually like think about that people would take some time to like load in, because their computers might not be as... They might not be a muscular powerhouse like my computer, so well, I'll take some time and wait a bit. I guess I can. That's how Raxo made that area for heavy scene. Yes. I guess I can talk about a couple questions. I can take like a minute to break just in case anyone needs to catch up. But yeah. I'll take a minute. I can add this out if anyone needs to ask me anything or whatever. Enjoy some future funk for a minute. Good, now it's loaded. Okay. Let's take a minute if anyone else needs it. Alright, whatever, I'll just keep going. So I'm gonna... Let's choose a place to put the camera to set this scene. We were just kind of making a poster, just a basic thing. So I guess, I don't know, where's it? I don't know. Here, on this bridge. Kids like bridges. Alright, so, let's set up, actually, let me look at my list. Let me check it twice. What the fuck was I supposed to do? Yeah, I'm, okay. Right. Let's create a model. What you're gonna do to spawn a model is you're going to right-click in this window for the animation set editor. And this menu will come up. You are going to go down to Create Animation Set for New Model. And click it. And, again, these are all models that I have in user mod. I have way more, but I removed the mods for those models. What we're gonna do is we're going to type into the filter here, down here, type in here, HWM, and that stands for hardware morphs. I have all these from the workshop and everything, but the ones that you really want, if you're looking for, these are the ones you already have, are these Team Fortress 2 models. These are the ones that they use for movies as opposed to the ones that are in game. They have better face flexes, their textures are higher quality, they look overall better and work a lot better. We're gonna choose heavy for this one. There he is. It's him. Half-eaten weapons man. How you doing, Heavy? How are the kids? I enjoy your jawbone beard that you have going on here. Hello, Heavy. Hello, Heavy. I'm getting distracted. I'm a terrible teacher. Okay, so now we have our model, but what are we supposed to? How do we move it? When I try and click on him, I just move the camera. What do I do? What we're gonna do is we're going to click on the motion editor right here, this little tab under the timeline thing, and that brings up this green timeline for us. It is basically shows the motion data of anything that you select in the animation set editor. Say, for instance, the only thing we have in the animation set editor. Let's click on Heavy. Now you can see that all of his bones, which are basically his rig, the parts of his skeleton that we can work with are highlighted when you click on everything. If you hit this plus up here, it creates a drop-down menu that shows every one of his controls. The controls for his bones. Let's open up body, for example, and click on Bip Pelvis. It will highlight just his pelvis. Now, what I have selected here is, it's this tool, but yours, I think it might start on this. I guess I can talk about the different tools. This is the vertices tool. I think that's what it's called. The global move. Yes, the global move tool. Yes, okay, yes. This is a tool that we can use as, you know, evidenced by the arrows. It is a tool that we can use to move bones. Now, oh, what I just did there. When you move anything, it puts the timeline in this orange-yellow state, this gross honey state. That shows that something has changed in the, with the bone you've selected. If you hit exit, it undoes everything. If you hit enter, it will confirm it and lock it into place. Or rather just be like, alright, fine, I won't get rid of it. If you hit escape again, it doesn't do anything. But if you hold down Control and Z, it will put it back into this state. If you hit Control Z again, you go back again. This is Control Z is undo. So yeah, with this, you can move him up and down with the arrow. You can move him back and forth, left and right. You can use these to move him within an area, or like within this axis, just free roaming. Or you can hold the square in the middle to move him about based on how you're looking at him. Now, that's good for moving him, but what if we want to rotate him? You will choose the rotate tool. In the same vein, this allows you to rotate the model however you like. These ones can be used to just move him straight on vertices, or you can click the circle itself to move him however you like. You will spend a lot of time just doing this. It's mesmerizing. And lastly, we'll go back to this, what the hell is it called? Screen. Sure, the screen tool. This is a combination of both the rotate and the move tool. You can rotate by clicking anywhere in the circle, and you can move by clicking on the square. However, it does not have the precise vertices rotations. Additionally, by clicking on the square and holding down Alt, by moving your mouse left and right, you can send a model further and closer to your screen. I'm a terrible teacher. This also works by moving. No, it's just left and right. Never mind. I forget it. Now, if you're going to move a model around, when you click on everything, it defaults to its root transform. The root transform is basically the bottom, like where the ground is, according to this model. So now we want to put him onto the ground, right? So using what we've learned, let's take let's take the move tool and move him down. Easy does it. Easy does it. There we go. And then let's be a bit advanced and use this circle to move him back. I think I want him to face towards the camera. Let's turn him with the rotate tool. That was very tedious. Instead of doing all of that, you can just go into either this one or this one, click the square, hold down shift, and the model will automatically gravitate towards the ground. What doing this does is, like I said, the root transform tells the model where the ground is. So it immediately puts the root into whatever collision is currently there. There's also collision on other models, so if I spawned in a box, I could put him on top of it as well. Let's just put heavy there for now. Now let's pose him. Yeah, I think that's a good time to show you this. What we're gonna do is we're going to go to View, click on that. Show. Hold on, no, wait, go to Window. No, I said Window. Go to the Window tab up at the top of your screen. Go down. Click on Secondary Viewport. This will create a secondary viewport window. Take the tab that says Secondary Viewport, click and drag it. Drag it over here. You can see that there are different slots in which this window can be put in. If you want to customize how your source filmmaker looks, you can take any of these tabs and put them however you like. It even shows you where this will end up. I'm going to put mine here. Now there are two windows. And so you can change the size of either of these windows. Usually I like to have this camera bigger and assigned to the camera. And I like to use this camera as my work camera. Whoopsie doodle, whoopsie sploopsie, I made a fucky wucky. I forgot to move the work camera. Oh, it's gonna take forever to get it here. No, it's not. Shut up. You hold down control and then you click on this, and it will immediately put the work camera into the same position as the active camera. See, now I can look all around and not move or ruin my second shot. Or my shot. Cool. So now, let's talk about cameras. What you're gonna do is you're gonna right click in the animation set editor here, and you are going to click create animation set for existing element. It's gonna open this window. You're gonna click on camera 1 and click OK. You're gonna expand this, and now we've created an animation set for the camera. Once we do this, we cannot move the camera anymore until we, as it says here, we have to go into the motion editor, click on the camera in the animation set editor, and then we can move it. Just like the models, we can also hit escape to undo anything that we've done to the camera. Now, why in the world would we want to do this? Because down here, just like there are controls for heavy, there are now controls for the camera. And you can see that the field of view is quite high. Just as a reference, if you get really close to a model and they start getting this like weird fish head, where their head gets all like thin and then they look really weird, or their head gets long when you're like over here, that's because your field of view is too high and you're too close to a camera or to a character. Now, if it's a far out shot, sometimes you want to get a lot of stuff in, and you're, you know, then that makes sense to have a high field of view. But for this, we're a bit more personal with heavy. So what we're going to do is we're going to, with this selected and in the motion viewer, we're going to click on this right here in this bar. You can click anywhere, but we click on this bar, and we're going to move it down quite a bit. About here. Well, now we just have a weird angle of sort of Heavy's dick, so let's just bring that out. And now, see, now this looks a bit better. We have a lower field of view, and we can see Heavy. We can see most of his body. What we're also gonna want to do is change the focal distance to engulf him. Basically, we want the focal distance tells the camera, this is what I want you to focus on. And we want whatever the focus is to be within this pink kind of field that's being projected here. We let go, it goes back to being this. This is what we want. Okay, so let's pose Heavy. There are two ways to pose a model. We can click on these bones, and we can just kind of, kind of move them like this. This is how bones move, by the way. I probably should go over that. God. Goodness gracious, great balls of being bad at teaching people. Alright, no, this is a learning experience for both of us, don't worry. So, when you take, let's take the pelvis, right? We can turn it like we did before, and it turns the entire model. That's because the pelvis, in most cases, is the root of the model. We can also take parts of his spine and turn them. Doesn't turn the entire thing, it just turns part of his body. However we want. We can, right, what I'm doing, I'm not clicking on this. You can hold down Control, and that will show you all the bones of everything that's in the viewport right now. If you have too many things on screen and you want to not see something's bones, you can click on this little arrow here, and you hold down Control, and you won't see anything. Additionally, while I'm over here, you can also click on this eye, and it will make the model completely invisible. But if you keep this arrow on, you can still see its bones. Anyway, so we can also take the thing and move him around like this, right? Now, what if we take his spine and try and move it around like that? We get this stretching thing. His body really isn't supposed to do that, because spines don't really move, they just rotate. That's not what they're for. Pretty much anything on his body we can stretch out and make all weird like this. We can give him longer arms. Maybe this is what you want to do, but for a normal pose, you probably don't. In some situations.
An act of seduction, not an act of violence. What she did.
The side, yeah, sorry if the side of the window's a bit cut off. That's my bad. I didn't know. But it's there. But yeah, basically when you pose any bone that's not the pelvis, you want to use the rotation tool. Otherwise, you'll stretch it out. Sometimes if you're doing a still image or you want to get, no, you can't go to the washroom. If you're trying to, basically, sometimes you want to stretch it out, like, I can bend Heavy like this, and then, pull on him like this. And then we can move his leg, like, down here. Like this. You get the basic idea. It kind of looks like Heavy is coming at the screen, right? But if we actually look at it, Heavy is elongated. If you want to do some things, like an artist you probably know, Pybun, does this a lot. You can stretch things towards the screen or hide them within other things or behind other things to make it look like the model isn't. The model's not, like, all stretched out and spaghettified throughout the universe, but, you know, whatever. Let's just take this all, let's bring it all back. Let's bring it all back. Okay. Children, stop fighting. Right. So, posing. I don't usually pose like this, but you can just kind of move the body however you like. Just kind of like, let's, I don't know, like this, like this, I guess. Like, oh, it's me, Heavy Weapons, mine. Here I come. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, like that, and then, oh look, Heavy is on his way to work. What a delicious view of the world. Good on you, mate. And sometimes you can, there's nothing wrong with posing like this, but the way I do posing is with IK rigs. Currently, the mode that Heavy is in is called an FK rig, where, you know, this happens. You try and pull on anything on his body and it stretches out. You know, the rest of his body isn't really responsive to it besides stretching out. Now, hold on. Oh, God. There's so many things I gotta tell you guys about, but let me just... Okay, so I'm going to set Heavy back into his normal position, and a very fast way to do that is to right-click on it, go down to Import, and then go to Sequence. Now this is a sequence editor, and it has all of the animations that are associated with the model. Like, for instance, his taunts, his poses, his animations for dying, basically everything that this boy got in him is here. But right here, if you go to Ref, or sometimes it's called Ragdoll, it's the first one that you get to. He goes into his A pose or T pose or whatever. If you want a pose from the game, or an animation from the game, you can get this, but a lot of times it's very easy to see when you've done that, and you don't really want to do it too much, because it kind of deducts from the quality of the product that you are making. But, unless it's supposed to look like an in-game screenshot, in which case, go for it. But we're gonna click Open, and then we'll set Heavy back into the motion that he's in. Now, for rigs, you're going to right-click on this, go to Rig. Again, I have a lot, but the one that you probably already just have is called Rig Biped Simple. Click on this, and now, Heavy's been given a new kind of skeleton. Look, he's missing so many bones. Where did they go? They're still there. You just can't see them. They've been replaced with constraints. See, now all the bones that were called Bip have been replaced with Rig. We click on Pelvis, instead of moving the entire thing around. What is this? Heavy can do a little dance. Look at him. Oh yeah. Get it, fat boy. Oh damn. Get it, fat boy. Get it, fat boy. Right. Basically what the IK rig will do is it sets up a set of constraints that are based on the bones, and it will move everything for you in response to the, you know, the model. So you don't have to, like, if I want to move his arm, I don't have to go here, move it up, here, move it up, here, move it up. And it can be a bit tricky to work with at first, but basically think of it like it's a puppet, like a marionette. You're moving the, like, think it as if there were a bunch of strings connected to where the controls are. The hand, the elbow, the collar, the feet, the pelvis. It makes posing things a lot simpler for me. If you want to do it with the FK rig, go for it. That's totally fine. I will probably post something with an FK rig after this, just to, you know, yeah. Go back, how do you do that? Certainly. You right-click on the model, you go to Rig, over here in this thing, and it'll bring out this menu. For you, it'll probably be up here because you probably don't have a lot of scripts, but you are going to find a one called Rig Biped Simple, and you're going to click on that. If you want to remove it, you're going to go up here to Detach Rig, and you can either click Detach All or Rig Biped Heavy 1. So, you can rotate these and they will rotate with it. You can move this around. Basically, the rig script is a big formula that's like, okay, SFM, listen up. If this boy moves his arms like this, this is how the rest of the bones connected to the... This is what the rest of the bones connected to the hand are supposed to do. Now, you can see here, sometimes the rig fucks up with the arm and it's like, oh fuck, what are you doing? What are you doing, my dude? But if you want, like... If you're like trying to be like, oh, Heavy's looking out at something. But Heavy cannot see, because his arm's all fucked up. And humans don't work like this. What you gotta do is move the collar. This thing right here. This is very important. Remember this when you're posing something. The collar is one of the only bones that's still left on the rig that you can still stretch out. But, the collar is very important for posing because it stops this broken arm motion or style that's happening. What you want to do is kind of move it and turn it until it kind of gives you what you want. Sometimes what's happened is you need to move the hand a bit more back to fix like what's going on with the elbow. And also, if the elbow is just giving you sass in general, you can also move this like this. The elbow bone has become like a tether of sorts, as you can see on right here. And the control that you're moving will angle it because it's pulling on it in a certain direction. You cannot rotate it this way. Rotating does nothing for it. It is instead is a constraint that moves it like this. It can be pretty hard to grasp, so yeah. Actually, I think it probably would be best if I just... Oh, one other thing. When rigs and constraints are put on things, including locks, when those are put on models, you cannot import animations. This is because the program cannot assign sequences to the bones while there are constraints on it. The constraints are controlling the bones, not the program. This is like it's a script that is telling the bones what to do. So in order to do that, we are going to have to go to Rig, Detach Rig, and we detach all. And after a bit, after it is like, okay, hold on, let me do some math and get all this shit together, it will slap the model, it'll undo all the constraints and put the model back to how it was. To make sure that you guys can actually, like, get it, I'm going to, just do this with an FK rig. Or pose it with just an FK rig. But, you can see that, you know, sometimes FK rigs aren't very easy to, because I move it down, it doesn't, like, squat. So you kind of have to move all the legs the way you want, but I can do it. So, let's pose Heavy. How do we want to pose Heavy? I guess, well, we got Stanky Leg. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Stanky Leg. Right. Okay. So. Okay. What kind of pose do we make Heavy do? I guess we can just kind of make him like, I don't know. I mean, I explained how I'm doing all of this, right? So I don't have to go over what I'm doing to make all this happen, right? I am clicking on the bones. I'm holding control, clicking on the bones, and then rotating them. I'm going to get kind of lazy with this because I'm just kind of doing. Toe bones as well, you are kind of like, you can kind of just move them like this. If you move them any other way, they can get kind of weird. Sometimes you'll want to slightly move them to the side. In this case, like if someone's staying on their tippy toe, sometimes you want to curve it a bit. It's a bit cartoony. You can do it. Everything in here is a cartoon. They're fine. So then let's curve Heavy's bones like this. We're gonna turn him this way towards the camera. Make him look up like this. Towards the camera. And then starting with the colors, we're gonna angle his arms. Usually when I'm working with joints, I will only use the axis controls, specifically the ones on the joint, just so that I don't make the arms go all weird. Let's talk about Fingers. Fingers is a bitch! Fuck Fingers! But the reason I am so mad at Fingers, as you might be wondering, is if you select Fingers and you try and move them, it's not doing it here. Why are you trying to make me look like a jackass? Okay, so maybe it's doing this on your computer. Maybe. Wait, no. Hold on. Wait. Stop. Hold on. Shut up. Wait, I got this. Hold on. Now I remember why. It's because I only do things in rigs. Okay, look. If I put on the rig, or biped simple, and I try and move a finger. Okay, well, first off, in order to get the bones to show up, it turns off the show for bones with the script. That's just in the script. It says, don't show bones. I don't want to see bones. But I do want to see bones. So I'm going to activate the see bones trigger using the toggle selectability thing right here. Right here, these arrows that you can see right here, now that I've moved it. I'm sorry, I forgot you couldn't see it. So now I'm going to select one of these bones, the thumb. Shit. What the fuck is happening here? What? Huh? Why is this so slow? So these are still BIP bones. They are not rigged like the rest of the body. There are some rigs in which you can get them to be rigged like the hands. Like how moving the hand will move the rest of the thing. I don't like that. So these are just bones, and they're still connected to the model, not controlled by the rig. So it basically is taking time to say, well, throughout all of this time, I am moving everything, and also not having this effect. It's trying to translate between the skeleton and the rig in a way that isn't that it's not clear to the program, so it lags it a bit. To avoid this, what I do is, if it's a poster, I will go 1 frame forward in the timeline by pushing right, and I will push O, and this will delete everything ahead of the playhead. This shortens, because it's just, a poster is just 1 frame, so you don't need the rest of the 60 seconds that are in this. You just need 1 frame. So now, when I try and move the finger, hey, no lag. No lag, we're totally fine. He can touch. His typist career is saved. Good job, Heavy. But again, I said I was gonna do this with the FK rig, so we're gonna detach the rig. Okay, hold on. Okay. Now, let's pose his hands, and let's pose these fingers. Usually I start with the pinky, and I use the rotate tool because these are all joints. Your fingers are all joints. we're going to use this rolling tool. For the first joint, I usually use freeform, but then for the rest of the joints, I use the rolling thing because it can only move in one direction. But your other finger, the first joint of your fingers, can move around. So, and usually when you're making a fist, you have to like move your fingers in. So, yeah. So we're going to curve these in to tighten it. Use this and bring it here. Curve it a bit. When a fist is made, each finger is just a bit higher than the last one. It's not like a perfect square. So we want his fist to be ramping up to the thumb, index, whatever. This is a cool werewolf song, by the way. Anyway, you are now seeing the tedium of posing fingers. Imagine if you had a very complex scene to animate, and it required you to pose fingers multiple times. That sucks! So then we're on the thumb. The thumb can be a bit tricky because it's not on the same axis as the rest of the fingers. But it's pretty much follows the same ideal. First joint can be moved freely, the rest move with the axis control. So yeah, now we have a fist. And I guess we can have the other hand. We're gonna do the same thing. We can have him like, wait, we can like. We're gonna have him like. What if you want to make an animation? Do you just have to deal with slow fingers? Making an animation, you can sometimes like guess how long the animation is going to be and then cut it there. Like for instance, if your animation is gonna be really short and you want it to be 10 seconds, you can still cut down on that lag by cutting it here. Around 30 seconds is where it starts like getting that lag back, but it won't be as bad if you cut there. And you can increase the timeline if you need more time at any point. You can, when you go to a clip, this is a clip right here, you go here and then you click and drag and that'll extend the time in the clip. I guess while I'm talking, I'll go over that later when I start getting into the next episode, I guess, when I start talking about animation. But let's curve Heavy's fingers in like this. Just like this. Oh yeah. I grabbed the wrong finger. Hold on, Heavy. Where you going, buddy? Would you hold on, slow down there. Hold on, slow down there now. Hold on. Oh, Heavy. Are you upset? Did somebody upset you? Who upset you, Heavy? Maybe this is a poster of Heavy being upset at somebody. Whatever you want. Oh, I'm in the graph editor. This is different. This is for animation. Don't. You don't have to be in here yet. It's all the same. It's still gonna be here, but we'll get to that later. I now understand why toy animations take too long. It must be hell on the animator. Yeah. Now let's talk about faces. Faces are not bones. Some faces are bones, but in this case it is not. Faces with hardware morph, with most hardware morph models is controlled with sliders. For example, the eyes. the nose, the cheeks, the jaw, the lips, the lips, the lips, the lips, the lips, the lips. Greetings. It is I, half-eaten weapons man. I have come from my home planet to teach you the true meaning of love. Join me, won't you? In my bed, where I will show you my penis. Sorry, like I said, you get... Anyway, do we get some tongue accent for you, my friend? Anything. We gotta open up the pod bay doors, Hal. Oh. 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 I cannot be distracted by my own fucking students. Get, please.
The cream of the crop!
Please! I'm trying to teach the next generation. Anyway. So, when I, do things... I'm showing you how I do things. You can develop your own style. It's not, you don't have to do exactly like me. As you use the program, you'll develop how you want to use it, whatever's comfortable for you. That is correct. Whatever is most comfortable for you, totally fine. That's what you should do. Anyhow, But faces are controlled. As you can see here, there is like a control here. This is the local view factor. The local view target. You can see that Heavy is looking to the left, and that's where the target is. If we drag it around, Heavy will also look at it. Right now, Heavy's eyes are locked to look directly at the target. If we move his eyes at all, they will also move in conjunction with, like, basically I'm saying is, the program is saying by turning this all the way over here, I didn't turn off resub sounds. That's cool. Thanks for that. Thank you. Good. I did. Great. Thank you. What it's saying right now is it will look all the way to the left. As it's going to, like, I'm basically telling it, look all the way to the left. Your view is now controlled to, is now just going to be all the way to the left. I am adding this amount of left to also looking at the target. If that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm very good at this. Likewise, if I make him look down, he's going to look that amount of down and also at the target. If I move the target, it's going to move it as much as the controls are allowing it to. When you're doing animation or you're moving around a model, when you're doing an animation or moving around a model, this can get really annoying. Like, okay, don't do that. Like, you see, like, if you're doing animation, the character is supposed to be looking around, and wait, hold on. It works better if it's actually, like, in front of him. Okay, so if you're, like, moving the character around, he's gonna be looking in this direction, and then you have to correct it every single time you move his head. So instead of doing that, what you can do, maybe you like that, I don't. What you can do is you can slide up this target here. We're gonna make him look all the way up here, right? You can slide up local view target factor and slide all the way up. And when it's completely filled up, the Heavy's, like, view target factor is completely nullified. He will just... he will just look forward. And then you have full control over his view. No matter where you move it, he will always look forward. I like that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want his eyes to completely lock onto something. That's something. That's good. Otherwise, you just do whatever. I don't know. Point is, if that's how you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't, let's move on with the goddamn lesson. Okay, so moving the face. Because Heavy is mad at somebody, let's make him angry. So first what you would think is you would go to frown, right? That will lower the brow. And then I guess this, a lot of these aren't very, like, straightforward because they're not very, like, you know, common words. You have nose V, whatever that means. You have cheek V. You've got smile. That makes sense. You make a Heavy smile. Looks a little wacky, though. You got dimple. You can tuck in his thing. Placimus is a word that I don't think anyone has ever heard in their entire life. But, I guess, let me explain what each of these do, then. So, like we said, we have eye up, down. Moves the eyes up and down. Eyes left and right. Moves the eyes left and right. Easy, right? Eye convergence will change how close the eyes are to each other. If you want to make him cross-eyed, slide all the way to the right. If you want to make him slightly walled-eyed, slide to the left. Brow in changes how high and low the brow goes. V basically means in facial controls, or in most controls, up and down. Because it's kind of like an arrow. Brow out V changes the outer, like, brow. So, like, here it's better if I get out because the work camera's still on that thing. But brow out basically raises the sides of his eyebrow that is further to the like sides of his head. Brow in will do the middle of his eyebrows or his brow. Right here, as opposed to here and here. Frown, like I said, drops down his brow. It can be combined, or it clenches his brow. So it can be combined. You can raise this up, and you can make him look really angry or determined. You can also make him look really angry like this, or you can make him look worried, like this. Frown basically means you are clenching the eyebrows together. Inner squint makes Heavy squint his eyes, or it just makes them all squint its eyes from the, like, with the lids. Outer squint squints the muscles around his eyes. Scalp is weird. It's basically if you want to move his ears and, like, kind of, like, sometimes you can like kind of like contort the skin in the back of your head or something, and sometimes you can, like, do stuff with the top part of your brow. That's what that does. Close lid opens and closes the eyes. Multi-close lid changes how he closes his eyes. If his eyes are completely open, it does nothing. But to show the best effect of it, let's close his eyes completely. If you move it down, it makes the top lid overtake the eye more. If you do it up, it makes the bottom lid go more. Usually you want to choose a balance in between the two, so it doesn't look really, like, weird or cartoony. Like here, it like a lot of people I see will just, like, do this all the way, and it's like, oh, he's happy. This is happy eyes. Nobody blinks like this. Nobody blinks like this and it looks weird. Stop it. Don't do that. Fucking blink does nothing. Blink is a control that's supposed to be used for robots, for in-game models. It's basically how frequently the model is going to close its eyes and blink in the game, but it does nothing. Don't worry about blink. Nose V raises and lowers the nose. So if you want Heavy to sniff, he can sniff. If he, like, maybe you want to, like, If you're squinching his face, you can do this. If he's really mad, you can lower his nose a bit. And additionally, you can use nose flare to make his nostrils flare out, like this. A combination of nose V and nostril flare work very well together. Inversely, you can also shrink the nostrils. And then yeah. You know, cartoons. Cheek V raises the cheeks on the side. The temples, I think, the face boobs that you have under your eyes, it will raise and lower the face boobs. I am sorry to whoever I just gave a new fetish to. Anyway, cheek H is the sides of the cheeks, like the fatty part of the cheeks. It brings it in, and you can make Heavy look malnourished or out of breath. You can bring it out, make Heavy look fat. Jaw V raises and closes the jaw. Down, in order to open his mouth, you'll have to work with the lips, but for right now, it's just moving the jaw. When we raise it up, it just kind of like clenches the jaw, because you can't close it past close. Jaw D brings the jaw in and out. Jaw H moves it left and right. Lips V purses the lips. Gives kind of like a breathing motion. Or like a breathing thing. Inversely, it can also clench the lips. Making them look kind of like, good stuff. Lip up V moves the upper lip. Lip low V moves the bottom lip. Fold lip up folds the lip upwards, or backwards. The same with the other one. Pucker lips, pucker the lips. Obviously. Can you write it all down? I guess I could write up a guy, I don't know. This whole thing will be on YouTube, so you'll be able to go through it and look at it and all that stuff, but yeah. Puff lips up, puff the lips. Smile, adds a smile. Multi-smile changes how the smile happens. So if we do this and we move it down, it kind of like gives a more quaint smile, like, oh, hello everybody, it's me, your grandmama Havy. How do you do? Down, it's more kind of like, instead of moving up, the smile is instead pulling the lips back. So instead, he's just kind of like, meh. Empty weapons, man. Empty weapons, man. Give me hungry. Me hunger. Hungry for worms. Feed me worms. Fucking, Placimus. Placimus is more like frowning. That's a bit more extreme. It can get a bit more extreme like that. It's like, it's kind of like the multi-smile option, but only going down. Yeah. Lip contortion twist. That's more of like a lesser frown. It kind of just turns the corners of his fucking. It turns the corners of his mouth down. Dimple kind of like squints the corners of the mouth in. And for the rest of this, I will have to open his mouth. These are tongue controls. Tongue V raises it up and down. Tongue D brings it out and in. Tongue H moves it left and right. Tongue curl curls the tongue up and down. Those are the basic hardware morph flexes. Why is his mouth still open? Okay, so why haven't you given your own class in college? You're doing great. Because I am not an accredited professor, nor do I know any, like, skill other than this. Anyway, So effective face posing requires you to not just do brow down, frown, and then Placimus. Now Heavy is mad. I mean, he is, but it's not... It's, we want to go a bit above and beyond. Not just, you know, basic. As you can see here, I mean, again, I'm not very comfortable with it, and I just kind of threw this out, but... this is an interesting pose. This is a pose that isn't just, like, Heavy just standing there with his hand out extended and his, middle finger up. For effective posing, you want to you want to curve things. Curves are interesting. Curves are interesting to look at. You want to look at things that are curved and not straight. You want to look at the gayest images you can. Bad joke. Let me start over. You want to curve the body, even if it's slightly. Like, you want to, like, add a little bit of sass to, like, let's say there's a businesswoman standing, and she's like, yeah, you can't fuck with this. You want to give her a little bit of sass. You want to put the hips out of the bit to the left. You want to put her hands on her hips. Maybe one down, one up. Give her, like, make her, like, neck move a little bit to the left, and head tilt to the right, and then bam. Now you've got an interesting pose as opposed to her just standing there. You want to, you know, go a bit up and beyond with their posing. And I can show you a more casual pose with when we add another character. And the same is and that goes for the same with face posing. When you pose someone's face, you want to kind of employ... This isn't Monster Factory, so unless you are trying to make something look horrifying, you don't... A lot of times you don't need to use, like, slide things all the way up. A lot of times... actually, if you want to set a face completely back to the way it was, you can click on the slider up here, default, and it will set everything back. But what we're gonna do is we're going to take everything a bit, like, we're gonna go down and then up and adjusting slightly. So we're going to make his eyes look down. We're going to make it look a little bit to the right. Maybe bring him in a bit so you can see that it's focusing. Convergence doesn't have to just be, I'm a dumb, or, what is happened? Sometimes, you want to make them a bit more wall-eyed to show that they're not focusing on something, or you want to bring it in to show that they are, like, narrowing their focus onto a certain thing. A lot of times I don't even, like, bring the brow down. I kind of just, like, keep it around the normal, and I bring the brow up, or the outer brow up, and then frown it. And then I employ a bit of outer squint. The nose up. Cheek. Clench the jaw to show anger. Bring the lips up a bit. Lips down a bit. Fold the lips in to make the teeth. When you're mad, you fold your lips in, and then you bring them up. So actually, we could also employ a bit of lips V. No pucker lips. No puffed lips. Now, here's something you wouldn't expect. I'm actually going to apply smile. Even though we want him to be mad. And then we're going to contort the lips down a bit and add Placimus. A lot of times when you're working with Heavy, Smile and Placimus, you have to, like, work together, because to get those faces where he's, like, really happy, but where he's really happy or not, because if you don't implore a little bit of both, you kind of end up with those wacky, goofy faces that don't really... That's more of the Gmod Heavy, the one that everybody's kind of, like, fabricated because he doesn't speak, he doesn't speak English as a first language, and sometimes talks in, like, first person or whatever. But anyway, we're gonna move the jaw up a bit. Let's flare the nostrils. No dimple. We're gonna move the multi-smile down to add to this, and now I'm going to show you how to move just one side of the face as opposed to you know, both. You see the slider up here changes. It has an L and an R, and that should be pretty obvious that this is what controls. This is how you control which side of the face you're working on. If you put it to the right, for most of the controls, you will move just the right part up and down. Same with the left. You can move that. It works for fold lips, the lips. It can work for the smile. Some things it won't work for is the jaw, because you can't split a jaw in half. That's not how it works. It does not work for looking left and right. Unfortunately, you can't make one eye go in one direction, the other one go in the other one, but you can do it for the brow. And if you put it more in the middle, the closer it is to here, or to one side, the more it will do. Like, you can change, if you want to move both of them, but you want to move one more, you can move this one, like, further to the left or further to the right, but not all the way. If you move it all the way, like here, it will move only the right. One step back, it will move mostly the right, normally, and then just a little bit of the left. And then so on and so forth as you move it up and down. You can also use your scroll wheel to move it if you don't want to slider it. But you want to keep it in the middle most of the time so that you don't just end up moving the, yeah. So yeah, we have posed heavy. Cool. Oh, God. Oh, Christ. Alright. Okay. No, I'm good. Don't worry about Thatcher. Okay. So, let's talk about other models. Now, I've shown you that you have all the Team Fortress 2 models. You've got, well, you have most of them. At this point, if you just opened up the SFM today, you only have like what it comes with, which is I think right now it only comes with as many TF2 assets up to, I want to say, like sometime 2 years ago. I don't know, but it doesn't have all of them, and I can show you next time how to import models, the newer models from Team Fortress 2 into Source Filmmaker. How much have I had to drink? Nothing. Not at all. With your teaching, I managed to post a scout poking a sad sitting heavy. I'm doing it! Doing it up! Hell yeah! Alright, so let's talk about adding models like, the Femme Scout. Wow, popular character Femme Scout. She's got the boobies. She's like Scout, but she has the boobies. Wow, where'd you get that? Where'd you get the boobies from? Krunkidile? Well, I'm gonna fucking show you how to fucking get some new models. Here's how to order. We're gonna, I had this all set up. The places you can get new models is, well, the easiest place to get it is the Source Filmmaker Workshop. It has a ton of it has like, I don't know when it was that it first started, but it has like years and years of just shit. 278 pages. Let's see, what was the oldest model that was uploaded here, just for shits and giggles? Hold on, give me a sec. Give it a sec. I am streaming, so this is taking some time, so just give it a minute. Stop trying to follow along after fingers my match to make heavy give a thumbs up. Cool! You learned something, and I'm proud of you. Fucking God, okay, never mind. Fuck, we're not gonna look how far it went. Let's find, I don't know. We could find FemScout here, but yeah. So anyway, looking through all of this, it's very easy. If you've used, the Steam workshops at all, you already know how to get these, but, basically in order to download them, you have to subscribe to them. Let's say for, you basically just click on this, this plus here, and when you do, it will bring up a pop-up that says, hey, you wanted to download this model. Are you ready to download it now? You will click OK, we'll download it. If anything is like, if there are any file conflicts, it will say, hey, there are two things that are named this exact same thing. You can just pretty much say yes to all for all of them and just replace it. It doesn't really do anything. A lot of them aren't really important. Sometimes they cause issues, but you'll see it later. But yeah, you basically subscribe to the model, and then you can look it up, and you will have it. Also, other places you can look, if you don't find what you're looking for on the workshop, you can also look on the Source Filmmaker DeviantArt page. You go to sourcefilmmaker.deviantart.com, and they have a ton of assets here. A lot of them are on the Source Filmmaker workshop, but others are not. Some of them are, yeah, this is basically where, like, people, you can follow people who make assets and, like, you can follow people who, like, make assets. Like, I haven't seen this, Atari 2600 at all, anywhere. Yeah, you can follow all these people, get to know what they're working on, see what they're doing, maybe support them when they come out with something, you know, all that good stuff. If you're looking for maps, TF2 Maps is a pretty good place to look. However, one thing that you will have to make sure is that these models have high dynamic range. SFM will only work properly with models that have high dynamic range or HDR. If it does not have those things, then it will mess up how everything looks in the map, and it does not look. All the colors will be washed out, and it'll look really gross. But for the most part, you should be able to take the files and put them into your Source Filmmaker and use them pretty easily. Another place, Max of S2D's site. You probably know him. He does lots of he does Dota stuff now, but he has done a lot of things that, you know, he's done stuff. If you check here, models, you can see a bunch of them. He was one of the people who helped make the FemScout model. He made this one. He made like a massless spy. He has the old Scout mom, a muscle-bound pyro. He's got Dota stuff here. Yeah, there's lots of stuff in his website that you can just kind of poke around and look in. If you're looking for horses, you got this place. And even if you're not looking for horses, sometimes there's just fucking cool shit. Like this is just a big old cathedral that just happens to be. Wait, hold on. Is this the motherfucking Baltimore? This site just has a Baltimore Convention Center. Like, that has nothing to do with horses, and yet here we are. The motherfucking Baltimore Convention Center. Like, this site is amazing. Like, don't put it down. If you're like, oh, horses, fucking ew. Doesn't matter. It's cool. Don't worry about it, dog. They've got more shit. Like, even, like, there's a guitar here you could probably use. There's a shield. I don't know. Fucking, just look. It probably has assets that you want. I've used tons of assets from this place for other things other than horses. And, lastly, there is SFM Lab. SFM Lab has lots of models that aren't not just models, but also models and assets that aren't available on the Source Filmmaker Workshop, including, but not limited to, models with the boobies, models that don't got no clothes on, Models with big old ding dang hibbity hobs. Models that got no penis. For the most part, like, if you don't sign in and you can set it up so you don't see the NSFW stuff, but if you are interested in that, I'm not gonna judge you. That's chase your bliss. Do what you wanna. Hey, don't worry about it. It's all good, homie. It's all good in the hood. You will have to sign in and set it so you can see them. I obviously cannot show you the NSFW content that is on this site, but, you know, take a look. It has lots of cool stuff on it. Anyway, so to show you how to, what should we do? Transformers Devastation, Shattered Optimus Prime, Fixed Textures. No. Iron Spider-Man. Okay. So, you can click on the thing here and it'll give you more information. You know, it's got all this stuff, things you can comment on, all that stuff. You can also subscribe to it here. You will, in order to download the model, you will click on subscribe. Now, when we go back to Source Filmmaker, this pop-up comes up. This is the model that we wanted. If you see some that you don't want yet, you can uncheck the thing. Every time you log into Source Filmmaker or start it up, when you start a session, it will bring this up, telling you whether something is you subscribed to something while it was when you weren't in Source Filmmaker, if something is updated, or if a model has been removed from the workshop, or you have removed it from the workshop. And by clicking OK, you were basically telling it, okay, add this stuff. Okay, remove this stuff. Whatever. So we're gonna click OK. And we're gonna wait for a bit. And see, there's a conflict here. Models, and it doesn't fucking matter. I don't read this because I'm bad at my job. I just click yes to all like a goober. And you click OK. Now let's find Spider-Man. To find what your model is called, because you can't just look up Spider. So a lot of times you can't just look up. You can't just go to it and be like, "Dear SFM, give me this Spider-Man. He is my favorite. Next to Rocket Raccoon. He says funny words and is mean to his friends. Love, Derek." You can't just say that because SFM doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about. You have to find the actual file name for the model. So I mean, I guess if we looked up Spider-Man, nope, didn't find it. Spider, I don't know what to look up. You can go to the workshop and you can see here the file is called kryptonite/inf spiderman/inf spiderman.mdl. So I mean, wait a minute, didn't we just Spider-Man? Huh? No Spider-Man. I wonder why. When you add new things to when you look up models in Source Filmmaker, it takes from your directory the instance that starts up. If you add new things to it, it will not be able to find it until you hit rescan. Now it's going to rescan, as you can see here. And whoop. Hey, look! Tiger! 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 Wait. Oh. Anyway. Once again, clicking on the root thing and holding on shift, we can move him about the collisions in the world. We're going to make, Spider-Man do a little bit more of a complex pose. Let's see. I think I can actually put a rig on him since I've already, okay, well, this is interesting. How rigs work is they look up, bones that are of a certain name on the model, and then they, like, basically connect them based on how the script is told to put these things together. And you can see, Heavy and Spider-Man have different named bones, but that might be okay. How many, let's see, how many spines does Spider-Man own? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many spines does Heavy own? 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. I think this might work. Let's go to rig. Let's go to rig and go to rig simple. Hey, look at that. Spider-Man can be rigged with biped simple. Hooray! Alright, Mr. Stark. Mr. Stark, look. I'm a real boy. I'm real now, Mr. Stark. Mr. Stark, I did it. Whoa. Maybe this time Black Mary Jane will finally give me a kiss. Hooray! Hooray! I'm gonna do my happy dance now, Mr. Stark. If that's okay with you. I'm wasting time. Right. So, I'm definitely an adult. We're going to turn Spider-Man like this. I'm gonna basically show you how to pose like I do. So now we have the rig. This is gonna go way faster because I don't have to, one, don't have to explain everything, and two, whatever. But as you can see, I can just slide these things around and not have to pose the entire fucking thing. I can just kind of move him all the way down, down, put that not butt on the ground, and kind of like, wait. Now looking over at the camera, we can't see Spider-Man's beautiful face. So what we're gonna do is, see, I have him looking directly at Heavy, but for the sake of the camera, I'm actually going to turn him away, like this. So he's not really looking at Heavy right now, but that's okay because to the camera, it looks like he's looking at Heavy. Things don't have to be perfect in the universe, it just has to be perfect on the camera. Or just good enough. You will kill yourself trying to achieve perfection, so just go for good enough. Good enough's good. One of my favorite things about using FK rigs is the inclusion of a hip. The hip allows you to do something that the FK rig can't do. You can move the butt area, the pelvic area around the model without moving the legs. You can also still move the spine and everything, and it won't change anything.
Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Thank you for helping me. Thank you. I thank you. Oh, man. So you can move the dick? Exactly. The dick can be moved. So you can just, yeah. I mean, it's a little hard to see on this. It doesn't really, yeah, you can see it. See? I'm wiggling him about, but his style stays the same. So you can adjust the midsection of the body accordingly. So we're just gonna pose him so that he's like, oh my goodness, oh jeez, oh man, I'm awkward Spider-Man. I didn't mean to rhyme that. Oh jeez, oh man, here's the man. Here he comes. It's awkward Spider-Man. You may need to move the camera now that there are 2 characters in it, but that's okay. That's just how it goes. But yeah, you can see that we've posed Spider-Man a lot faster with the help of the rig. Now, one thing that you'll notice is we can't work with like extra bones on the character's body like we can with the FK rig. Like, see here, this isn't well, it's usually in unknown, but for heavy he's different, I guess. But we can, in unknown, there are usually bones like accessories to clothing, like the bandolier, or like flaps on clothes, or pouches like this one. If we want to move a pouch around, we can move it. It's located in the unknowns. But on Spider-Man, you would think that his like web shooters or the like spider legs, they would be movable, but we don't see them on we don't see them anywhere. There is no unknown. I believe there is. I've never used this model, but I believe there is. But how do we find it? Click on this thing with the gear in it. You see this thing here that says show hidden controls that is unchecked? We're gonna click on it. Ah, there are unknowns. Okay, so it doesn't move the alright, okay. Alright, I don't even know what this is. Thank you for making me look like a fucking... Thanks, good. I'm so happy that I look the fool. In front of all my students. Thank you, Spider-Man, you big piece of shit. You fucking... God, I hate you. God damn it, Spider-Man. Anyway. But yeah, you can also see that the body, all these bones are here, but they also have these things on them. These are the constraints. If just a quick heads up, if at any point you want to work, like, if you're like, I like how everything's working here, but I wish I had more control over the arms. I wish I wasn't, they weren't tethered like this. I wish this wasn't happening. Or like, God, the elbow and the shoulders and everything, they're giving me a real problem. They're giving me some real sass, I gotta say. Well, what you can do is you can go to arms, and you can highlight all these constraints here, right? You see how all these are slid up? These are, this is basically telling you that these are in full control of the bones. These constraints have full control over the bones that they are connected to. If you slide them out, you're starting to see it. Control will be given back to the skeleton as the FK rig as opposed to the IK rig. And then you can move the bones again, just how they always were, or how they were before. I'd also like to thank you all for your generosity and your bits that you are donating. If you, your bits really help out the stream. All of your bits, your donations, your subs, all those really help me out. They help me create more content and videos and stuff. You can only do that if you're on YouTube. I don't know if, or if you're on Twitch. I don't know if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube and you're also trying to support me with, like, whatever the hell they have on there, I don't know. I haven't been looking at the YouTube chat. If you're trying to chat at me and you're on YouTube, I'm not looking at that because, that's too much. That is too much for me to keep track of. So, if you'd like to chat and talk and ask questions, please come to the Twitch chat. We would love to have you. Any dang way, right, so I want there to be, I want the rigs to be on it, so I'm going to slide this all up. And also to show you, you can see that as I slide these back up, it is going back into the pose that I had it in. It's gonna do that every time. You can also see if I try and move the bones themselves, it does nothing. So anyway, let's just finish posing up old tiger. Add a bit more fear to this pose. Let me just like. Put this over here. Thank you, Miss Kin. That's very thoughtful of you. Thank you for the 10,100 bits. So once again, let's try and pose these fingers. These fingers look really bad, but you know, whatevs. We'll just put these back together. Just put this man. I actually kind of want his hands being like, oh God, please don't hit me, Mr. Large Man. Oh God. Oh God, my body. My body really hurts. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus, crunchy Christ. Oh, my shit'll break, dude. That's how Spider-Man talks, right? In these Marvel movies. I walked out of Homecoming because I was done with it. I did not give a shit, but I'm pretty sure he talks like that. He's like, oh jeez, Mac. Oh boy, oh Jesus, crunchy Christ. Oh, I actually kind of want him to like, kind of more like, I want him to look at him, but also not look at him, you know? Like if let's enlarge this a bit. You can also work in the camera if you like. Sometimes it's better to work from the active camera, because it's just like, you know. You're just like, I don't need to look at this from the work angle. I need to look at this from the actual angle. In fact, let's move the camera down into the better position. In fact, actually, now I think about it, it might be better if we just do it from here. Wow, look at that angle. See, this is what I was talking about. Let's push it a bit further than it was before. A bit more of a, see, when you let's look at these angles side by side. Like this, just flat looking at it. This adds a dynamic change to it. See, now we're at the position of Spider-Man on the ground looking up at Heavy. Looking up at a character makes him look more intimidating, makes him look more powerful, makes him look more strong. In opposition, like here, looking down on a character makes them look weak. It makes them look helpless. It makes them look like they're at the lowest point in their lives. Like, right? See the differences in these two angles. At the same time, we are seeing Heavy and Spider-Man in the same light. Both are effective, and I could have used either one of them, but I think this kind of, I like shots that look up at things. I just like them. Maybe I wish to be strong like Heavy. Maybe I would. I wish I was a half-eaten weapons man. One day, I'm gonna get revenge on all of my enemies. Anyway, yeah, this angle, much better. Much better. We will have to change some things, but with the camera settings, but yes, this is much better. I can't get these arms right. Like, I want to make it so that he's like really just like, Mr. Stark, help me. I'm sad. I am sad and weak. My skinny arms cannot bear the weight. No, way. Way. No, Mr. Stark, help me. Help me. I don't know how to fight anymore. I know how to do cool flips. Way. Anyway. Yeah, so there we go. We've gotten a model into here that was not here using the workshop. Now, what about from, say, here? Or here? Or here? Or like, whatever. You know, if we want one of these models that's on the workshop. Well, I will show you how to do that in a sec, but I need some water. So just give me a sec. I will be right back. Please bear with me. I thank you all for watching my tutorial. It's not done. I hope you're enjoying it. Just hang around. And I'll be right back. So yeah. Just hang out for a sec. Okay, welcome back. I am here. Some things I'm saying something in the Twitch chat right now that I should have talked about earlier, that I will now talk about right now is probably something. If you're following along, I apologize if you've been having some troubles with this. But so there's something happening. You can see here, there's all this like grainy stuff on the models. This is called ambient occlusion. It is it's used to, it basically makes shadows look a lot better. It gives depth and dimension to models. But it also lags the, it lags things. It lags the program very bad. Zach Zon Gaming, thank you for subscribing. That makes me very happy. If you guys, and he used a Prime sub. If you guys If you guys have Amazon Prime and you link it to your Twitch account, you can subscribe to my thing for free using Twitch Prime. And I believe if my extensions work right now, you can just kind of put your mouse over the screen and see if you have a sub available yet or not, if you have Twitch Prime activated. It really helps me out. It helps me get more sweet emoticons to give to you guys. Currently, I need 100 sub points to do that, and I have 71, so, you know, I need more. So if you have sub money and you want to help me out to get more emotes, and you want emotes like a cool Macho Man Randy Savage one, then subscribe here. Okay, I'm done shilling. Let me actually tell you what the fuck I'm supposed to do instead of trying to get your money. I appreciate your patronage to me. Right-click the viewport, hit render settings. Here you can see ambient occlusion. If you uncheck it, it will remove the ambient occlusion, and the game should move, or the whole thing should move very good. It should run a lot easier for you. I'm sorry I didn't bring it up earlier. I am dumb. Please come to my house and pants me. Because I'm a big nerd and I deserve to be fucking put inside of a locker. As big nerds do. God damn it, I'm done. Alright, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about adding a model not through the Source Filmmaker workshop. So, I'm gonna take the TF Civilian as an example, right? I've already downloaded it. Right here. You are probably going to need, if you're going to be downloading these things, you are probably going to need a thing that opens zip files. Also, I forgot to mention, but another place you can go to get assets is the Gary's Mod website, garysmod.org. Anything that runs in Gary's Mod can pretty much run in Source Filmmaker. Actually, it can, because they both run in Source. However, some of the ways that you will have to mess around with file paths in some of them won't show up in SFM because they are rooted differently. A lot of this will happen for, yeah, but, yeah, you can find a lot of stuff here. Like, Tier 2 maps, the Team Fortress Classic models, hexed items, like mods items, these tractors, fucking, there's a lot of shit. A lot of them, even some items are like, people make items and they don't get in the game and so they give it to them, or stuff like, just weird items like a helmet for Heavy. Cool. Anyway, but yeah, if you have a zip file thing, you can just like open it, and every one of these will be sorted like this. There is 2 folders, models and materials. In the models is all of the models. In materials, there are all the material files. We will go into these a bit more in depth, or rather, we will only go into materials because I only know materials and I know nothing about models. Please don't get mad at me. We'll go into them more in depth later. What you're going to do is you're going to open up the Finder thing and you're going to go to... Hold on, let me hold your hand through this. You're going to go to Local Disk. You are going to go to Program Files. You are going to go to Steam. You are going to go to Steam Apps. You're going to go to Common, then Source Filmmaker, Game, and here is your directory for all of your Source Filmmaker stuff. I have lots of things. I have made different folders for it. I will show you how to make different folders for your content so you can sort all your content very easily later, but for right now, we are going to take the Models and Materials folder and we are going to put them into User Mod by clicking, dragging, placing into User Mod. It will then merge it into the Models and Materials folders in User Mod. Let's go back. Create animation set for new model. We have to rescan to find the new model. You're going to look up Civilian And here it is. The civilian man. Look at him. God, he's ugly. Who invited you? Who thought this was okay for you to be here? You're made out of Play-Doh, you fucking... Anyway, let's pose civilian man. How should we have him, I guess? Rigs very much help for when you are having two characters interact with each other because you can do things like this. Now would be a good time to show you how locks work. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have him hanging off of Heavy's arm, being like, "Please, Heavy, don't do this. Spider-Man is worth millions. He's a very well-respected character in the Marvel franchise. Don't do it. Oh, Heavy. Heavy, no. Heavy." Or we can just kind of make him rap. Let's make him rap instead, but I'll still show you how locks work. Okay, so let's say you... Well, I could show you how locks work with a different thing. Yeah, I'll do that. That's probably an easier way of showing you how it works anyway. I mean, fuck it, I'll just show you. Did the music stop? Are my jams up? No, they're not. Anyway, so we have his hands together, right? Let's make it so that he has his hands, like, together, like he's like, "Oh, please, Heavy, do not murder the Spider-Man. He is but a wee boy, and he smells really good. I love you, Spider-Man. Give me your Aunt May's rice recipe for rice." I'm not really gonna do like a great job of putting his hands together because with these fingers. Ugh. Ugh. Oh. Oh. Alright. Okay. So now his hands are together, right? But what if we want to move them? If I move his right hand, then I'd have to move his left hand into position to match it, right? Not necessarily. Here's what you do. Take the control for rig hand R. Click and hold. Bring it down to rig hand L. Release. You have locked it. You can't see it, but you have locked it to rig it. You have locked these two together. You can't. It shows that it's locked, but it doesn't show what it's locked to. Anyway, now if I move rig hand R, it will move both of them. If I rotate it, it applies all the information to both sets, to both things. Now, obviously, if I were to put this with the Heavy, now I don't even have to touch, really, so I can show you this, too. If I were to attach, say, his bip hand L to bip hand R, I've actually never seen this happen, and I'm loving it. I'm loving what's happening here. I am so happy that this is what I do for a living.
Fuck you, Spider-Man. Fucking Infinity War sucked ass. I want my $12 back. Fucking fuck you, you stupid bastard. Bonk, 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 bonk,
bonk, bonk, bonk.
Fuck you, Spider-Man!
No, so obviously, I mean, if you want to do that, you can, but it works better if it's on a rig. And it doesn't even have to be hands to hands. You can lock his left hand to his head.
Spider-Man! Spider-Man! I come for you, Spider-Man! You will know my vengeance! Bonk, bonk, bonk. I will feed on your scalp, Spider-Man!
You could even lock the civilian's spine to Spider-Man's. Oh wait, so I've had hidden controls on. You could lock his leg to the civilian's spine if you wanted. Whoa. 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 It's like a snake charmer. Anyway. Yeah. And you can unlock it, and it'll just go up. Wrong lock. You can unlock it, and it'll just go back to not being controlled. What you can also do, if you so desire, is you can lock a thing just in place. If we take Heavy's head and we click the... Sorry. And we click... If we just click the box where the lock goes... And let's say we moved Heavy somewhere. His head will stay in place no matter what we do.
Fuck you, Spider-Man. I'm going to the bathroom and then I'm gonna shit on your head. But I'm watching you. Forgot my keys.
You know, something like that. So yeah, that's locks. Thought I could show you something while I pose this third man. So let's just space out his legs a bit so that they're not just like right next to each other. Move his pelvis and give him a little fatty look. And now we can look at a face that isn't hardware morphed. I believe he's not hardware morphed. Yes. Alright. So, very limited amount of controls as compared to Heavy. Because all of these is compared to just this. Just... I believe he might be like other models. A lot of times with some non-hardware morph models, the facial controls, yes, they are all in the unknown bones. I don't know why. I guess it's organization or something. I don't know. But they're all in unknown. And they aren't like two-sided sliders either. They're just like for one thing. You can't even like do a left and right thing. They're just all one big list of... Like, I don't know left and right for raise eyebrow right. It's just all one thing. So, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so that's where his controls are, and they're not as good, but they will work. It's extortion, you see. That's what's happening right now. But now we have a poster. We have 3 characters interacting. Heavy, though, I want to put something on Heavy. I want to put a hat on Heavy Weapons Man. How the fuck? There are 2 ways to do this. One is the easiest. You can right-click on Heavy, and you can go down to Add Team Fortress Item. This will bring up this window that has basically every item that is compatible with Heavy. All of them. You can search through them, or you can just scroll down and look at every single fucking one of them. Lots of ETF2 medals. Like, for instance, if we want to put sunglasses on, we'd go to Gray Bands, we click OK. Bam! It equips it to him. Let's say we want to put on, the Krunkidile disaster. There we go. And now let's say we want to put him in, what's a new item? What's a new item that came out? Is it Potassium Bonnet? Huh. Potassium Bonnet isn't here. But I have updated my Team Fortress 2. Huh. I wonder why it's not here. It is because this is an older version of Team Fortress 2. Source Filmmaker does not update at the same time as Team Fortress 2 does on your computer. You have to wait until whenever the Source Filmmaker team decides, okay, we're going to update it with all the new TF2 content before that happens, and that's probably not gonna happen anytime soon. I'm sorry. But there's a different way. You can click on Create Animation Set for a New Model, and we can search up Potassium, and there's a Potassium Bonnet. You can also find some of these on the SFM workshop, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, we want to find, there's one for every single class. You want to find the one that says Heavy at the end. Any item that is multi-class, you're probably going to look for at the end, and you'll find the character that coincides with at the end. The reason for this is because every character has a different shaped head and a different position that their head is at. So if I were to say take the Scout's Potassium Bonnet and I tried to put on the Heavy, oh wait, let me do it the other way. Hold on, wait. Let me get the Heavy's one. Make this invisible really quick. Here's how you will equip a hat to a character. The easiest way is to click on the entire thing for the animation set, drag it down to the hat you want to put on, and release. By doing this, you lock every single bone that shares the same name with the hat to the model you just dragged down. Sometimes when you do this, it has bones that don't share names. To make sure that you don't ruin something by doing the next step on something that it doesn't share, open all of the things and make sure that it has linked up. Usually this is in unknown or other on the thing, and that's usually like a thing that only the hat has, like if it has a part on it that moves around or something. Anyway, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on the hat, you're going to go up to the top here to 0, you're gonna click and slide it in. And it will instantly zero into where the thing is supposed to go. I just realized that maybe like a lot of you make sure that you're in this green thing again for all of this stuff. If you can't change anything within the thing unless you're in the motion editor. Here you can't do anything to it. You can only do operations to the timeline. And here this is for animation, so don't worry about this just yet. Let me refresh something really quick because I don't know if my chat is broken or not. Very possible it was, but anyway. Yeah, no, my chat was frozen. Anyway, yeah, we'll just put Heavy in a banana hat. Why not? I don't give a shit. Chaz function will simply quiet boys. Okay, so I'm not interested. Good. No, that's fine. You guys are great. But let's put, I want to put a ring on him. So we'll look up something special for someone special. Just for funsies. Now, when you're looking up hats in the model viewer, you can't just like look up the name of the hat. Because a lot of times the name of the hat in the game is not the same as the model name for the hat. This only looks up things by the model name. For instance, if we look up, like, I don't know, fast learner, we can't find it. It's not there. Even if we look up, like, fast learner, all one word, nope. Fast, well, you can obviously see it's not there. Sometimes things are separated by underscores. They are not. This is not. But if you look up, it would be called PRP, wait, I think it's called Scout underscore prep shirt, yeah. The fast learner is called the Scout prep shirt as a model. Sometimes you can just look through every single thing that a class has by looking up, say, Scout, and then hitting backslash. Because everything is in a everything for its that class is in a folder called Scout. So you're basically looking in every folder named Scout, and you can find all of his items. Let's see. Again, Digidivulgers are not called the Digidivulgers. They're called Scout gloves. A lot of times they're just called class thing. Scout gloves, heavy hat. Like, every single one of the Gen 1 hats, like the first hats that came out, are all called, like, class underscore hat. Anyway. We have this. We have our poster. That's fair. Let's talk about lighting. Well, first we would have to talk about SSAO. So I know it's gonna lag your computer or whatever, or the program or what have you, but we're going to right click on the viewfinder. We're going to go into ambient occlusion. And while we're here, let's also talk about the progressive refinement. Progressive refinement is where you can see how it looks bad here, and then you go into the timeline editor, and then it looks less bad. Like all the graininess, like look here on his neck and on Heavy shirt, all of it smooths out when we go here. That's progressive refinement. You can turn it off so that it doesn't spend the time trying to think it up, and it will look the same in both views. But I'm going to keep it on. We want is subpixel jitter. For poster, you want subpixel jitter and depth of field. Motion blur isn't really in it because you're not animating anything, so motion blur isn't really a thing you need. But for depth of field, you usually want to turn it up because using camera settings makes it kind of bad. My computer can handle it at this much. It is a big and strong boy. Tough and beefy. But usually you'd probably want it maybe somewhere around 128. Maybe if you're feeling frisky, 256. I don't know what any of these numbers mean, but I do the big one because it's big and cool. So right now the SSAO is meh. I mean, it's there. It makes it look. It gives it depth. It gives the picture depth. But what if we could make it look better? We can. First, we're going to click on the camera and we're going to go back into the motion viewer by clicking this thing. Like we do with the focal distance, we are going to use sliders to adjust the SSAO right here. Usually what I do is I start from radius to bias, but I can explain them as we go down. Actually, I could explain all the camera controls while we're here. Field of view changes how much of the camera sees, or how much of the world the camera sees. You can pull it out and it can see a lot, but it also stretches things out. In an action shot, like if you were having a character who was flying towards the camera, you could use this and it would make make things look really cool. But usually you kind of want it somewhere like just above the baseline here. Focal distance, like I said, it is the field at which you want the camera to focus on, which works in tandem with aperture, which is an aperture is basically, if you've seen the Aperture Science logo, it is an actual camera aperture, which is a tiny hole that it allows light into and which changes the focus. So imagine the more you turn this up, imagine that there is a invisible circle that's closing around the thing. Everything that the camera is not focused on will become more blurry, and the higher you put it up, everything that's not in the dead center in this like little square that that's like right in the middle here. I'm pointing at it like you can see it, but you can see like there's a square here. This square. Everything that's not within it and like in that field will become more and more blurry. So you don't want it too high or too low. See, if we turn it really high, it blurs out everything except the things that were directly inside of the field. See, Spider-Man's blurred out. We don't want that. Now maybe if you are having a character that, if you have like, oh, we're just focusing on this character. Yeah, you could do that. Some of the TF2 promotional images do that. But you can see that like, some of this guy, he's out of focus. The Heavy's hand isn't in focus. A lot of things are out of focus. If we turn it real low, then everything is in focus. And it becomes hard. It's like, we want you to focus on the three characters, not the stuff back here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of eyeball it, turn it up a little bit, and switch back. See how it looks. Pretty good. Maybe add a little bit more. That's good. It's starting to blur out Spider-Man though, so let's move it back. That's a bit. What song is playing? There is a tab below the stream that will show you what I'm playing on Spotify right now. Anyway, yeah, this looks pretty good. I think it could use a little bit less, but it's looking, this is a good amount of aperture for this picture. Maybe if I pull back the focal distance a bit so that Tiger gets a bit more in it. There we go. Good. Now let's talk about the bloom scale. The bloom scale, or no, the tone map scale is next. Tone map scale, if a map is too bright, you can turn down the dark, you can turn up the darkness in it. If it's too dark, you can make it brighter. Now, me personally, because of how I like things to be a bit darker, or at least just on the level. Like about here is good for me. Then bloom scale is how much everything blooms. Like you can see that there is a little bit of radiance off of like the side of Heavy's head and on his arm and everything. If we turn it down, it gets rid of that. Like you can see all of it disappeared. Like, let me redo it. It comes back. It goes away. If we turn it up, it increases the bloom in the picture. Sometimes this can be good. Sometimes it can give it a cool, like, dreamy look. Sometimes you can keep going and then, oh man, oh, that's a bit too much. Maybe let's roll that one back. A little bit of bloom isn't too bad, but I personally like low bloom in my things. Now let's go on to SSO bias. When you the SSAO can be changed, and when you change the bias is basically saying how much you don't want the SSAO to be on. Turn it down, it basically covers everything. If we turn it up, it goes until it's basically covering almost nothing. We kind of want it a little bit in the shades, just not too much, not too little, kind of like more around the edges of everything. like around here. Strength is how, like, intense you want the SSAO. A lot will make it really hairy. None will take all of it away. I kind of want something like here, so that you'll see it and it gets a little bit, it adds to the shadows, but it's not like overpowering. And then radius is how far out you want it. Again, if you turn it all the way down, it basically gives you nothing. If you turn it all the way up, it covers everything. It's how far it reaches out from where it is. I want something like this. Not too much, not too little. We don't want it to cover everything, but we want it to be noticeable. There's one more thing I'm going to show you how to do because I'm going to show you how to go above and beyond. It's not even that hard to do. We're going to right click on the camera, go to show an element viewer, go to camera, click on that, and it will show you basically all the things having to do with a more in-depth, sciencey version of the camera. You can see everything is now in values if you knew exactly what value you wanted to apply to it. Like, if someone was like, oh, cool, that post looks really great. What was your aperture at? Oh, my aperture was 1.57407400299. That means nothing to me, and also I apparently can't change it. If you want to actually change it, you can double click on aperture and then change it. There, but whatever. But here, the thing that I really only mess with here is SSAO tint. If you're an artist, you know about shading with black, and how a lot of times you don't want to do that. You want to shade with a darker color than, like, just a slightly darker color sometimes, depending on the strength of the shadow. You click on this, and it'll bring up this thing that will show you basically a color wheel. You can go through here and see all the different colors, and you can pick through here. Usually what I go for is kind of an off red, and this will change the color of the SSAO completely. Usually I want to go somewhere like here to where red. I choose red because it's a common skin tone between all the TF2 characters. But we also want to complement Spider-Man. So we can go with like kind of a dark red. It can change based on whatever looks good to you. Do you want to get something that like looks like it's you're shading the skin? Like I'm looking at this part of Heavy's head, like up here. That's what I want. So I've gone with this kind of off red. Sometimes if you want something to be a little bit brighter, you can go with that. Sometimes that can look good. Sometimes you can go with like a lighter. You don't really want it to be intense because, well, sometimes maybe you want it to be, but here I don't want it to be intense. There's the thing I want it to be light, like here. Okay, and we want to make sure we do that before lighting because it's very important. Now, another thing. I'm again going to get into so I'm gonna get into something a bit more complex, but that's just because I want you guys to make really, really primo pick. Oh, I can't do that because of Heavy. Hold on, let me just. Yeah, Heavy doesn't have that. Oh, okay, all right. So lighting this is gonna be a challenge. Hold on, let me, does this guy have it? Yeah, he has it. Alright, so let me show you something that I do. We're gonna go into Element Viewer, Model, and we're gonna go to Helper. Doesn't have to be this, I just like to use this. This is just this is the model for a tool that is used within development for games. But we're going to take it, and we're going to go somewhere dark. We're gonna go somewhere nice and void of as much light as possible on this map. Where can we find lots and lots of dark? Some nice darkness. Here's good. Right here. So we're going to click on Axis Helper. We can see it through the walls. We're gonna go to the move tool, click on the circle, hit Alt, and then drag to the left until it shows up here. Now you can see that the helper is really dark, right? I should expand this because you need to see this more than the names of the bones and stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to right click on the Axis Helpers animation set in the animation set editor window. We're going to go to show an element viewer, model, and then we're going to right click on here in the window. You can see Illum Position DAG. We're going to right click and copy it. We're going to go to in Spider-Man, and we're going to go to show an element viewer, model. We're going to right click on his Illum Position DAG. We're going to go to paste special, paste as reference. Now I made him completely dark. We want that. We're going to do the same thing with the civilian. Show an element viewer, model, Illum Position DAG, right click, paste special, paste as reference. Made him completely dark. We're going to go to the potassium bonnet. Right click, show an element viewer, model, Illum Position DAG, paste special, paste as reference. We're going to go to heavy. Right click, show an element viewer, model. Uh-oh. Heavy doesn't have that. I have no idea why the Hardware Morph TF2 models do not have this thing, but it doesn't. Do that to the ring too. So I'm gonna do something really quick. I guess, I don't know. Let me see. No. Do I have a different kind of heavy from the workshop? Oh wait, I can just look up workshop heavy. At deep space heavy, dead space heavy, a robot heavy, a maimed heavy, enhanced heavy. Oh, okay. Well, actually, this might be good. This might be good to show you something. You can copy and paste positions and animations to multiple characters or to different characters. Let's take. Let me show you on this window. Let's click on heavy and go into the animation editor or the motion editor. Right click on the green, copy samples. Then we go to heavy enhanced, right click, paste samples. Where'd heavy enhanced go? Let's turn off heavy normal. Huh. Because we have pasted the samples from this heavy onto the other one, and I think this heavy actually has, yep, it has Illum Position DAG. We can paste special, paste as reference, and there we go. He's nice and dark. You can do this with pretty much any model, but it will only apply it to the bones that have the same name, and it doesn't really work if they're not the same kind of model. Like, for example, spawn. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's spawn this demo man, right? Let's paste the same samples to the demo man. How does that look? Well, he's inside the heavy, so I can't tell. So let's take a look. Oh. Huh. He's been stretched a bit. This is because SFM basically said, well, Heavy's arms are like this, so I guess he wants Heavy's Demo Man's arms to be in the exact same positions. Not just translating the movement to the other one. Huh. So that's how that works. And just for shits and giggles... Where is it? Where is it? Let's take Doc Lewis and do the same thing. I want to show you this. This time Doc didn't even do anything. He just moved there. That's because the only bones that the two of them have in common are root transform. All of Doc's bones and controls are all named different things, and they're all in the unknown thing, because that's just kind of how some models are. Now, going over why I made every one of the models dark. Why the hell did I do that? What was the point? Well, if I don't, then everything is lit with the lighting in the map, and a lot of times that's too bright, and I don't have as much control over how I want them to look as I do in the, you know, with the lighting. So, by making them dark, I've basically taken away the lighting that's here, and I instead gave them the lighting that the Axis Helper has. By copying the Illume position tag and pasting it to the other models, they're now lit like they were standing here, where the Illume position, where the Helper is. Now, you don't have to use the Helper, you just need to use any model that has Illume position tag. Like, I could spawn a bottle of bleach from Left 4 Dead and do the same thing. Anyway, let's go to our is it the final chapter? Is this the last thing that I have? Yes, last thing. Lighting. Right click, create animation set for new light. Oh, right. Your thing probably looks a bit different than mine. That's because I have show scene hierarchy checked. Without it, everything is just kind of in whatever order I spawn them in or whatever order I drag them in. Show scene hierarchy will put cameras in their own thing and lights in their own thing, and then they can allow you to put, like, say, all this stuff, all these items. You can right click on them and say group selected tags, and you can save space by creating groups, basically collapsible folders for things in your thing. By default, SFM already has cameras and lights in their own group. So, we've created a light. The light immediately starts wherever the camera is and adopts its positions. It works kind of like a camera. In fact, if we want, we can take it and drag it to a viewport, and then we can control the light as if it were a camera. Pretty cool, huh? You can already tell, like right now, how I'm lighting this. It has more of the light has more influence over the models as opposed to, say, whoop! Didn't mean to do that. It has more control over the like right now, if I light right here, I mean, it looks okay. It still has the lighting, but this is, I mean, this is pretty dark. Let's talk about this here. Let's talk about this. Like, it kind of, the light doesn't have as much influence over the shed. It's hard to show. Anyway, you want to do that. So, we're gonna talk about, the lights have lots of different controls, but I'm just kind of gonna go over them as I go along, because some of these you won't even use. So, to start, when you light it, you're going to want to create a light and position it to the side of your camera, or the side of the main point of the scene, here. Then, you're going to right-click the lights animation set, and go to Disable Shadows. Then you're going to turn it down pretty low. Increase the radius. Alright, turn it down pretty low. I shouldn't get ahead of myself. A lot of people don't know how to do that. The first thing on here is called intensity. Intensity can be turned down, and you're most likely going to want to turn it down because it starts really fucking bright. And it gets even brighter. But you're gonna want this one low. Ambient intensity, I have no idea what this does. I don't know. Horizontal field of view increases the how far out and in the light is. A lot of times you can just have it focus on the scene here, and that's good enough. Vertical field of view increases how wide the light reaches to. So you want to make sure that lights everything. Radius, I think it spreads it out. Like, imagine the light is butter and you're putting it out over a toast. I don't know what it does. It's good. It's good. You want it up, okay? Shadow filter size and shadow tension we will get to later. when we were actually working with a light that I haven't disabled the shadows for. A lot of these you don't really need to know. Constant attenuation. Well, it does that. Linear attenuation. I also don't know. I've never used those two. Okay, here's one that I do know. Quadratic attenuation can increase the brightness and the darkness of the light without having to make it more or less intense. So, in case this light was too bright, we could bring it down like here. We want it a very low, we want a very low light for this first light. And I will tell you why in a sec. Shadow depth by the things with the shadows I will get to later. Farsi attenuation is how far the thing reaches, and that is changed with max and minimum distance. Maximum distance, it's actually easier if I... Actually, yeah, I think I'll do that. Let me create a new light and then just put it, like... here. And I'm going to enable volumetric so you can actually see the light. Okay, so what I've done is I've created a light with volumetrics so that you can physically see the light itself, right? Okay, so let me show you me changing the max and minimum distance. You can see when I turn up the maximum distance, it brings it away from the base of the light and moves it a bit forward. And also focuses the light on things farther away. If I turn up the minimum distance... Wait. I don't... Okay, look, I don't know what these do. Leave me alone! Fucking... I know how to light things one way and I've been doing it my entire life. I'm not very good. I don't know what all these fucking things are. I'll just tell you what the things you actually want to know about are. Okay? The attention is how far short the light is. Volumetric intensity turns up the intensity of how solid the light is in a volumetric light. It has no effect on non-volumetric light. Noise strength increases the noise of the thing as opposed to how much volumetric is in it. Width, I don't know. Edge width, I don't know. Height, who fucking cares? All these are dumb. Color red and green and blue work in a way that is, instead of like turning them up, you are turning them down. See, right now the light is white because it is red, green, and blue all at the same time, making it white. If I turn down red, it starts to make it more turquoise because it is more green and blue than it is red. If I turn down the blue, it turns more yellow because it is now red and green. Or if I turn down the blue, it turns yellow because there's now only red and green light. If I turn down the green, it turns purple or violet because, yeah. So it's like actual light colors. Yes, exactly. So you want like kind of a, first off, you want to turn, a lot of times you're going to want to turn them all down for most of them, and then you're going to want to play around with them to get the kind of light that you think works best. I think that pretty much covers all the things you need to know about lights. But for this one, what we're doing to start is we're creating a light that is going to mimic light surrounding it, because we've made them dark. We've made all these characters dark so that they have really no light on them. So by making these low lights, these very low lights with low colors and low everything, we are filling in the missing lights that it would otherwise have. And we want this light to be barely noticeable. And we want it to be a bit more red and green, so it's orange to match this dirt. And less blue, because there's not really any blue around. And really you can just copy and paste, and then you're gonna, just for organization's sake, you're gonna put it back into the light group. We're gonna copy and paste it, and we're gonna bring it over here, and you wanna put another one, another light without shadows on this side. I'm gonna make sure that we see everything within the poster. It's light enough. This one I think I want a bit more like this. I'm gonna paste one more, and we're going to put this one to the back. Zoom it in. Focal distance, that should be good enough. Okay, so now we have these. It doesn't look very lit. The point of lighting isn't so that you can see things. It's not it's not just so that you can see things. It is so that you can make things look good. Now you can just shine a light on something and be like, well, there it is. You see it? See it? It's good. Yeah, it's good, right? No, it's to make it look good, not so that it looks. So we're going to make a new light. And we're going to create a rim light. A rim light is the main use of a rim light is to make it so you can tell the difference between what you're trying to create is like a line on the outside of the character or the model or whatever, so that you can tell the difference between it and the background if anything shares the colors. Also, it looks really good. For this, I can now show you. I'm going to turn it down just a bit, and we are going to show you what shadow filter size and shadow attention do. Shadow attention, or shadow filter size, is kind of like how deep you want the shadows to be. As I turn it up, the light starts to take on more of the model. And it seems to even like kind of burst through other parts of it. We can turn it up until we get it on pretty much everything around the models. And then shadow attention is how dark we want the shadows. We want this all the way dark because we still want it to be dark. Not like, we want it to be dark, we're just trying to light the outside. So we want it to have as less of an impact on everything else outside of it as possible. A bit so it focuses more on it. You can turn it down as much as you need to. A lot of times I just like to use quadratic attention to turn down the brightness so that how much it affects the outside does not change. And we're gonna make another one, and we're gonna put it on this side so that both sides of the models are seen. We want this high up and over to the side so that it can look down and brightly contrast everything in the thing. Change this, make it bring it down about here. Get this all the way down. Turn down the tension. Sometimes on certain models, you want them to. You can sometimes put a rim light that goes like not just on the edge but over the side, and you can color it. Like, let's color this rim light. Sure, why not? Make this one also. Again, we don't want to bring the blue all the way down. We still need some blue to lighten the color. I got something like around here. I add sort of like a yellowish tint to the side. I'm now noticing that I'm not really getting any on Spider-Man, so I'm gonna move it over a bit more. Now, I think maybe I want to bring this down some. Let me try this, because I'm trying to light Spider-Man with this, but it's really only getting heavy in the other guy. Change the color on this one. Just a bit. That should work. All right. So now we've got this thing rimlit, right? We got lights around the rim, but this is still really dark. Well, we're gonna make it even darker, if you can believe it. We're gonna take a new light and we're going to put it over the looking down on our characters like this. Make sure we get everything. We're gonna turn down the intensity, turn up the radius, turn down the shadow filter size. Alright, down the attention and up the filter size just we don't want hard shadow. Alright, this is probably a better example of what shadow attention and shadow filter size do. Let's head back to where it was. Okay, the shadow filter size. As we turn up, it's like a blur tool for the shadows. If we turn it down, it makes them really sharp. If we turn it up, it kind of smears them out. If we turn it all the way up, there's almost no shadow visible because it's all spread out. You don't want, maybe you want it like this. Maybe that's your style. A lot of times, I'm gonna turn it like here. That's about as soft of shadows I want. And I want them dark, like this. And then let's turn it down. You want to cut it to about like here, like after the, like right before the color green, match it all up, and then change depending on how, like slightly, depending on how you want things colored. I'm gonna turn red up a bit and turn blue down a bit and keep green right where it is. Maybe we can turn down the quadratic attenuation just a bit. Because the purpose of the slide is just to add shadows and give the light that's coming down from the sky. Or maybe if you're, say, making something spooky, you could do the opposite and have the light come up from here, and then have the like shadows look up. But in this case, we're talking about the sun shooting down on these characters, so the light source would be from the top. Now that's great and all, we kind of lit it up, but it's still dark. What are we supposed to do about that? We're gonna take a light, one light, we're gonna move it over this way, to the side, to the front, but a little bit to the side. We're gonna make it wide, zoom in a bit. We're gonna turn it down until it kind of covers everything. And we're going to use this light, turn up the radius to about half. And we're going to use this light to color in the shadows. Everything dark is going to be colored with these shadows. So we want something like... Usually what you want to do with this is reflect the ground in some way. Want to reflect the color of the ground onto the characters, because that's where the color would come. We're gonna make another one similar right here, and now you can see that it's kind of casting shadows. So what we want to do is we want to blur those out by turning up the filter size and turning it down, turning up the radius to half, and we'll turn it low. Just give it no blue and make it a bit more yellow. See? Doesn't that look pretty? Doesn't that look like a fucking lovely thing? Now we can go one beyond this. Like I did before, I'm going to create a volumetric light. What about here? Sometimes I like to use them for like a supplemental volume or rim light, but we're gonna enable volumetrics, and we're gonna use it to fill in the basically we're gonna use this to fill in the dead space with a little bit of like pixelation, because a volumetric light is like a solid light. It's a light that you can physically see. Like here, like this, and then we can either use the quadratic attenuation to turn it down or up, or we can use the noise strength and volumetric intensity to increase the volumetrics, and then turn down the noise. A lot of times you can use this to like imitate the sun being out and like sun rays or something, or dust in the wind or something like that. But yeah, and there you go. You have yourself your first poster. I hope I taught you how this was like how this actually worked and you actually understood it, as opposed to me just babbling on for an hour and explaining things that only I understood. But yeah. Anyway, when you're ready to export this poster, when you see it and you're like, yeah, I'm happy with this, you click on File, you go to Export, and then you're going to click Poster. It'll ask you if you want to save, if you're going to save it. And then it will automatically... it'll automatically put, like, set the thing to render it as the file name poster in renders. You can either change it through a dialog in here, or you can just like click this if you're okay with it being in posters, and you can just say like, you can call this like my first poster. And then you can change the file type. You can go TGA, PNG, or JPEG. You can change the dimensions. I have it set. You can change it however you want. You can have it constrained if you want it, or whatever. And yeah, and then you just hit export poster, and after a little bit, it will poop it out, and you can put it into Photoshop and make it look even better, or you can just have it as it is. But that is it for this this tutorial, the very first tutorial I've done. I think I could have done it better, but I am happy that I did it at all, and I hope you all learned something. I will be doing this again next week. Yeah, I hope to see you guys there, and I hope you all will learn something with me tomorrow. Thank you, Illuminal, for the 300 bits, and you don't have to pay me for this lesson, but I appreciate it. Yeah, so I will see you all next week. Don't eat things off of the floor. They probably have ants in them. And that's where I'm going to end the video. So I want to thank everybody else who was in the chat, and I want to say thank you for, you know, thanks for doing this. If you have any critiques, please tell me. If there was anything that I could have slowed down on, I will be putting this up on my channel later, and I hope to see you guys all there. Anyway, take it easy. See you all later. Have a good night. And, yeah. Goodbye.